Well, hello there, YouTube. Hope you are doing great. Hello to you across the world, all my friends. We have some huge news to cover today. This is some very important, groundbreaking news in the world of Pi cryptocurrency that honestly you cannot miss. This is, in fact, more important than anything else that we covered in the Pi Coinvention. And if you're interested in seeing the Pi Coinvention reaction video that I produced around what I thought was great about the Pi Coinvention, maybe some things that were not so great, check it out right here. There is my video. Would love for you to check that out and see what you think. Now, in this video, we are going to talk about something that has happened this week that is important. If you have mined any crypto, any Pi at all, this is something you cannot miss. A big change is coming, and you have probably less than a day to take a look at this and do something about it. We're going to talk about what that is, what you need to do about it, and what it means for you and me and the rest of the Pi ecosystem coming right up. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me again today. Hey, you guys mean the world to me. I love being able to share my thoughts with you here on YouTube. If we are just now meeting, my name is Wes Spencer, and I am a technologist. I'm a cybersecurity nerd, and I love covering all things crypto and honestly a whole bunch of other things as well. And you guys know I've been doing a lot around Pi crypto. It's been interesting to see Pi's journey of something that I really didn't have a lot of belief in and into honestly, something that actually has a lot of potential. Now, they have a long way to go. There is a whole lot of execution that they are going to have to deliver on, but I'm really enjoying seeing where Pi is going. And something happened this week. I don't know if you saw what I saw, but come take a look at with me right here in the app. Let's take a look at this right here. If you saw this, you might have brought this up and said, oh, this doesn't look like a big deal. This whole like one chance to fix the name. I don't know what this whole like name verification thing is. It's not important. My friends, let me tell you something. This is extremely important. In fact, like I said at the beginning, this is more important than anything else in the Coinvention world itself. Now, why is that? Here is why. One of the things that everybody asks me more than probably anything else is, Wes, what is Pi going to be worth? Like when this thing comes out with the initial value that it's going to be worth. And if you look in my comments, I leave basically the same comment for everybody to ask that question. The answer is simply this. We don't know. The core team doesn't know. I don't know. Nobody truly knows. Now, there are some hints. There are some things that we can look at, and there's some roadblocks along the way that are going to cause the price for Pi to be much higher or much lower, depending on what comes out. And one of those big roadblocks has certainly been this. There's been a lot of people that have been mining Pi for a really long time. And early in the ecosystem and all throughout its ecosystem, we know there have been bots. We know there has been an issue where name verification and Facebook and phone verification have been somewhat fraudulently done. And so it's easy for people to spin up a whole bunch of extra accounts, or at least I should say theoretically it would be easy. And so here we are looking at an ecosystem where I don't personally know how many like bot accounts have been spun up and fake names and all that kind of stuff that's kind of corrupting the ecosystem. But I do think it's fair to say that we have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Pi that are sitting around that have not been verified or have been verified through like a easy Facebook check with a spam account, but nothing further. Now, why is that important? Well, think about it in the world of like physical currency, fiat currency issued out by a government. Same problem that they have. If I have a bunch of counterfeit that's sitting there, it's going to devalue the actual currency itself. Pi is no different. So since Pi has millions, if not billions of Pi already mined, that's a whole lot to go around. And we had this big discussion in the Coinvention of when should mining stop? And I was very clear that 10 million is not the right number to stop 10 million users, not 10 million Pi that have been mined, because that user count is not enough to drive adoption. You've got to have a far higher user count to truly drive adoption. So mining needs to continue. But I recognize the more we mine, the more we dilute. The more we have a less value because we are increasing supply. So what needs to happen is we need to increase demand while also continuing to increase supply, but not at the same level. And so I come back to all this to say something has happened in the Pi world, and I wondered if it might happen. We need to start thinking about how can we burn up all of the fraudulent accounts, the bot accounts, all of the extra Pi that's sitting around that honestly should not be in the ecosystem. Now, why is this important? Well, if you're first kind of learning about Pi, one of the things that you should know is Pi is based upon a consensus-based algorithm. In other words, the reason that you mine and I mine is a way for us to build a user base and build consensus around how this whole thing is going to navigate and work, because eventually the Pi cryptocurrency, at least allegedly, the founders say, is going to be around sort of a stellar-based consensus system. In other words, unlike Bitcoin, where the consensus is built by mining and hash power and solving complex blocks, Pi works by having millions and millions of users active in the ecosystem, all confirming checks and saying, yes, this is valid, no, that's not valid, to know what's right and wrong. This is a version of what's called BFT. And so I'm not going to cover all of that today. It gets way too technical, but you should just know at a high level, Pi is all about having millions of users and a consensus in order to drive the ecosystem forward. So what's the threat to consensus? The threat is lots of fake users. See, all of this is about legitimate, real users that need to be in the ecosystem. And so Pi needs to solve this. They need to solve that problem of lots of bot accounts that are hanging out. And one way they're going to do it? Take a look back here again, the name verification. So you have an option right now to fix that issue. You see the note from the core team. We can hit read more right here, and they talk about this. Only pioneers that have verified themselves long-term are going to be able to hold the Pi that they've mined. And that's a wonderful thing. Let's just say there's hundreds, thousands, millions of Pi that are sitting there in unverified bot accounts. They need to go. Because as far as I'm concerned and you're concerned, that's a threat to your supply. And more than that, it's going to devalue the price of Pi when it's finally released in exchanges. So this is what they're talking about. I'm not going to read all these words. You can go in here and read this for yourself, but there's one thing that's really, really important. You need to make sure that your name matches whatever your KYC is going to be. So for me here in the US, I go by Wes Spencer. It's pretty common that my full name is Wesley Spencer. That's the way the government knows me. So a KYC process would not recognize me as Wes Spencer. Does that make sense? So this is why they're going through this. They're saying, hey, you're going to have a chance now, and only now, for like between the time they announce this in 3 days, which is coming up, to correct your full name. And if you don't do that, you are going to be in trouble. You are going to miss out on an opportunity, at least as far as I am reading this, to get this all set up correctly and make sure that you can get through the KYC process. And after that, commensurately, be able to keep the Pi that you've mined. So it'd be a sad day for you if you did not get this done. If you don't mine every day, but you do watch my videos, go get back in the app, make sure your name is exactly correct according to your government documents, because if you don't, you may pay the price later down the road of not being able to keep the Pi that you've earned. So this is a really, really big deal. And then they also mentioned that now you can verify by email address, if you've also done phone and Facebook, so just another way to verify and recover. So this is really important. And the way this works is you just hit this review name right here, and it gives you the opportunity. This comes right up. They say, is your name spelled correctly? It does need to match the way the KYC process is going to look for you and your verification. And then you can hit the review name right here and make sure that you have it correct. Also note that they have a section for a middle name. So that's really important. And then also native language spelling, which for some of you in other countries, that may be really important for you to make sure it matches your government verification capabilities. So that's a big deal. Why is that a big deal? It doesn't just shock us. It's like, oh my goodness, I got to do something right now. But guys, it's a big deal because it's step one on getting rid of a lot of the bot accounts. Step two, it's a way to make sure that those who are legitimate and those who've been using Pi have an opportunity to make sure that their KYC process is going to work. And step three, and you might wonder, well, why does Pi worry about that now? Why don't, when the KYC process goes through, why don't they let me have an opportunity through like a support ticket to go fix it down the road? Well, there's millions of you and millions of me. That's too many support tickets. They're not going to go down that road of support. I don't blame them. So now is your chance and your only chance to make sure that your name is correct. So if you are not Bob Smith, but Robert Smith, make sure you get that corrected before you regret it. And then again, I think more importantly than all of that, it is truly showing us that the Pi Core team is aware of extra Pi that's laying around from, places like bots and others that are going to cause a supply problem. And I'm glad that they're going to fix it. I'm glad they're aware of it. And I'm glad they have some ideas. This is not the only idea they have, but it's one of the ways that they have this in process to make sure we clean all of this out. I have no problems with there being millions and millions and millions of Pi being in supply, as long as we're all incentivized. And as long as we all know, hey, it's purely mined Pi by people in the ecosystem, then that's a good thing. So I'm still not going to tell you what I think Pi is going to be worth. If you're watching this video and you want to know that, I'm going to probably say, hey, go back to this particular minute and second in the video when I just told you, I don't know what it's worth yet. I'm getting a better idea of what it might be worth, but nobody actually knows. But this is a big step in the way of protecting the price point of Pi, which we all care about because none of us want it to be much more diluted and worth way less. So this is a big, big deal. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope this was important. If there's one takeaway, make sure you go and make sure your name is correct. That's a big deal in the KYC process, which is coming out for a lot of us. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful for you. One thing you could do that would mean a lot to me, and you know what I'm about to say, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That'll go a long way for me as we continue to build out content on this channel. And as always, my friends, if you've got a question, you've got comments, make sure you leave it down below. I review every single comment that comes in because you guys know you are awesome. You are the reason I do this. I really enjoy this channel and I enjoy connecting with you guys. If you have questions, you have other things you want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear all of that. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks. Take care.